did they?
and protest.
That was quite a show, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Can you, we have a balanced budget requirement in the state of Missouri.
Uh-huh.
Can you claim that your budget is balanced if you have a $30 million accounts payable?
Well, first of all, it doesn't make any difference. We have to find the money somewhere.
Yeah.
Guys, by the end of the year, we have to borrow money.
Yep, that's long and short of it, which cuts into other services. Okay, we will set Cherry straight.
I think these three questions are pretty stupid to even put them out, to be honest with you.
Well, like I think you said before, they've already posed these to the Sheriff's Association and got nowhere, so now they're on a fishing expedition.
Now they're on a fishing, because I can tell you there was like 60 or 70 sheriffs up there at the governor's mansion and at the Capitol over this. And he told them then, I will release some of that money this year. Well, now you got this.
Yeah.
Now they're saying they're what, $700 million in the hole right now?
So where's your prison money gonna
I
come
don't
from?
think you're gonna see prison money coming down tubes.
No, I don't. Which, because of your financial responsibility, it's probably not going to hurt us nearly as much as it's going to hurt somebody.
You take the totality of it, but it irritates me that I have to pay for somebody who's been committed to the State Department and DOC, and that this county has to pay for it. Doesn't make sense to me, do you?
Nope.
All right.
If you make these counties pay for it, and the county's budget is tight, now you're going to see people out on the streets that maybe shouldn't be there because the county can't afford to feed them.
Well, I'll tell you something else. If the judge says you ain't gonna release it, he ain't gonna be released.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if they send him to jail, he's in jail.
Yeah.
You know what the state wants to do? They want to turn all your Class E's and Class D felons back to the cabin and make them hustle. So if you're convicted of it, instead of going to prison for 120s or 2 years or 3 years, now they want to say, you convict them, you keep them. We're not taking it. That's coming.
We need to keep Senator Brown's ear.
Hmm?
We need to keep Senator Brown's ear close to us.
Yeah. And guys, we sent a bunch of them up
No. Okay.
there. Think about it.
That would be pretty rough.
I only have one.
The Raleigh School Board race and Raleigh issue if you're out in county in the Raleigh School District.
What is the row
Because you
issue?
would have had a city, this is for June.
Yeah.
This would have been the April
It's
election.
one of the reasons we were trying to avoid use tax for April.
That's right.
I can look you up in MCR and make sure that's the ballot you should get, but by your description, you know, but no Raleigh School District.
That's my
Let
bad.
me call Cherry.
That's your ballot.
Okay.
She called me. I missed this. That's April 13th. She knows the day. She called me, wanted to know why I didn't respond. She was nice
You
about
have
it.
to, you know, request an extra ballot.
Stupid questions.
They really are. I mean, the answers are so obvious.
Sign.
It's up in the paper, it's worse.
Yeah.
I know that's what you want.
Let's take a break.
Yes, more
for our
reading.
internet
We all
watch
need to
today.
be more reading. More reading.
I don't know what you guys want me to do. I mean,
I'll respond to it. I'll take care of
it's really kind of ridiculous.
it. And so,
I think they're just trying to put you guys in the middle of it too. Don't you?
Sure.
would any new good to sheriffs, they'll try to, they're not gonna do this. So,
I am gonna have to get some relief.
yeah, I am too, Gary. Let's go in recess here for about 5 minutes. What do you
All
think?
right, now, that's good.
The range, I called Department of Justice. They said we're not putting in ranges.
Oops.
Oh, okay.
Okay. She said, first of all, we got into too many issues with funding out of federal asset forfeiture funds. They got sued because of location they put on. DNR got involved because of water problems, waste problems. They, just a lot of different issues. And she said, you can use other funds, but that particular fund right now is, if you're asking for permission, it's probably not going to happen. And I said, well, there's no way I can do it. But I said, I've got to go some direction. So what I'm looking at, I went through DNR and EPA and all of them when I bought the incinerator. got all my permits, got everything approved for it. But for me to be able to burn evidence, I have to have a designated place. So, and now we're going to be out of a range. So I'm trying to find an isolated place, either surrounded by government land or just a bluff out there nobody wants, that I can put a range in. And I just have to come up with the funding other than asset forfeiture. But asset forfeiture said that that was a hot potato for them.
I can see that.
Because they said they got into a heading buddy contest with EPA and DNR. And I don't mind DNR them because I deal with them every year now, and they come in and do inspections for me on my incinerator and stuff, so I don't have any issues with it. But I can't get Department of Justice to commit to that. So I'll figure something out, and we'll go from there, all right?
Sounds good, sir.
Okay.
Thanks.
Decent call since I moved there-ish.
So is the thought that this commission order can be modified? The two batches were ready. I did approve the senior community one just now. So I'm wondering about modifying this commission order. So what you, so take out
Everything.
leave in the first whereas.
Mhm.
Okay. And take out everything and put in a second whereas referencing this, the April 27th order. And should this be included as?
Well, all we want to do is maintain our state of emergency.
Mhm.
And I would think that a whereas would be that whereas the county of Phelps recognizes maybe the governor's order on is it the reopening of?
Well, I don't know that I've seen a name appended to this, although I was
Just
kind of
the
trying.
governor's order.
Well, of course,
does it
this
have
is
a
Randall
number?
Williams.
No.
See, so it's the director of the
we-
Department of Health and Human Services.
We should maybe say that the county commission supports the DHS order numbers so-and-so or dated so-and-so,
Mhm.
addressing the
Social
required,
distancing.
no, I wouldn't even get that specific. I just put the requirements for the reopening. And I hated that they call it the economic reopening. It should be the social order,
Okay.
the reopening of social order. Not, I mean, because it's not just economic. This is far transcends that. I think that just is too simplistic. But I don't want anything in ours to have any sort of mandate of what anybody's.
You just want to make reference to
Make
this
reference.
as having, that we're
Aware and supportive.
right, that we will mirror, yeah.
Not even mirror, just that we are supportive of the governor's the VHS.
as order of April 27th. Okay, let me go see if Cheyenne can get this to me in Word.
All right. Gary, Larry's holding an impromptu office over me. Now turn the lobby. Carolyn, Robin, and Sue just happened to walk through at the same time.
Oh my goodness,
And Christine was there.
I'm glad that Larry is so accommodative to the other. So he really doesn't have a fine report. He just sort of for 28. And we have noticed that, and we're glad because actually I can remember what happened.
I know. Oh, my
If it gets much more than a couple of weeks, I mean, it does jog my memory.
Did you say, what? I'm sorry, I was focusing here. Are your minutes getting current, Pam? Is that where we are?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm up through last Thursday.
Whoa, congratulations. The auditors would be tickled.
I'll get a pat on the head.
Yeah.
No, not since we're social distancing.
Should put that on the agenda. Approval minutes for last meeting. I can do it really.
I never did notice that before. You know, she should put minutes from whatever they were.
Hi, Charity. This is Randy Bergkamp, Phelps County Commissioner. Whoop, there it comes. Charity, are you there? Are you there, Charity? Hello. Yeah, Charity, I had a hard time picking you up. You had called about the email regarding reimbursements for, yeah. First of all, let me apologize. That got by me April the 13th, or I would have done better, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, thank you. Charity, we're at a bit of a quandary about these questions. Bottom line is it takes money out of our pocket. That's just the bottom line. Is there anything, are you looking for a more elaborate detail, or what do you have in mind? Sure. Okay. Oh, okay. 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 Well, I think we can respond to that, Charity. And what will be the state auditor's function in this then with what you accumulate? What happens next? Yeah, obviously, yeah, okay. 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 We will give it a shot, Charity. If you don't you see, call me and we'll fix it. Okay? Oh, okay, thanks so much, Charity. Bye-bye. Let's call two people. I was talking to Charity and her answering machine. Sue said she may have got it worked out where they will be using the multipurpose room until May the 15th. And then if they still have a need, we'll have to revisit the possibility of it being in here.
What was that on for juvenile
Mhm.
cases though?
I think
See,
what
we've
was
got-
it, ex parte or some other emergency situation.
Yeah.
And there's not won't be, but they have to have immediate resolution.
Right. That's. Okay, so this number one, what effects has a low reimbursement rate had on the county's budget? County has to make up the difference. State reimbursement only covers 1/2 the cost, the actual cost of housing the prisoner.
Hang on, let me write this down. Okay, the county must make up the difference. State reimbursement at full funding, at state reimbursement.
And yeah, the state reimbursement only covers 1/2 the actual cost of housing the prisoner. And
At current levels, how's that?
Yeah.
State reimbursement at current levels.
And the caveat as well on that, Randy, would be that we are only reimbursed for those inmates that are convicted. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so I don't know what the conviction rate is, but of course that would encourage, if the judges were sympathetic, that would encourage release of nonviolent offenders because it is a burden on the taxpayer. So, I mean, I don't know that that's this whole thing about not reimbursing unless there's a conviction. I don't know if that's a good deal or not. And that's only editorial. That doesn't have to do with this.
Okay. All right, number 2 is
What effects this delay in reimbursements had on the county's budget? We still have to provide the housing, care, housing, feeding, and health care of every prisoner. And it just that's an
okay.
immediacy, there's a certain immediacy to that. I mean, that goes
Yes.
on.
Yes, see, okay, so costs continue.
So there's some numbers, there's some actual numbers from 2019. And there's cities and counties for personal costs. Most of that's gonna be, state charged people. And then here's the federal prisoner reimbursement cost.
3 times.
This is federal prisoner transport, this big one right here.
If you just do the board reimbursement
Yeah.
at 1.8
It's three
compared
times.
to 6.5 or 65, 650,000.
That was certainly 7 different opinions.
Oh, great, that's what we need, 7 of them.
Did any of them have an opinion on the snack machine?
Didn't get that far.
Most important.
I do. I miss my
Me-
little pack of crackers.
Me too. I'm not even gonna go
I
there.
may have a Girl Scout cookie in there if you guys are starving.
No, we have a range of motion. People said, hey, let's get this place open all the way. Robin was the most conservative, but we're not near ready. Sue can't do anything till the 15th of May anyway. So
Right, but what would Robin need?
she's just really conservative, I guess, about that. She's got glass already ordered and on the way.
Yeah.
I talked Stokes is gonna go ahead and put the glass up.
Okay.
I think the only one that's not was Cheryl. Cheryl doesn't really need to because she doesn't get the contract. with people yet.
She should
Traffic
get,
from
she
inside
should,
the courthouse.
she should get anybody other than other office holders. Who's going there? Maybe Pam's clerk.
Carol usually runs in here and throws receipts on the desk. Katie, and then just runs back out.
Yeah. With her N19 or what, an N95.
Before we go in and find that.
So anyway, but everybody looks like they're headed in that direction,
So everybody is doing what? Sorry. I missed
putting up glass, except Robin, who's actually putting up full glass like Faith has.
With a door.
I'm not sure. I've seen the design.
I feel like it's like, check cashing place in East St. Louis or something.
All right, we digress. I need some help here.
Okay, well, now wait, we got the first two,
You got the
right?
first 2, I need a third one.
Excellent.
What effect would it have on the county's budget if the program was eliminated?
We've had layoffs.
It would be a disaster
That is fair enough.
Of biblical proportions.
of biblical.
Okay, so last year there was $656,619 of reimbursement, board reimbursement, criminal costs, cities and counties. And I guess that is the state as well.
Yeah, we'll have some other county, sometimes inside the circuit, we get some other county.
But who would reimburse for those? Would it be those counties?
Those counties.
Okay, here's my answer. Number 3, it would be a disaster. Layoffs and reduced services would immediately follow.
It's the man.
Okay. Here's what Gary authored for 1 and 2. Mary, what effects does the low reimbursement rate have on the county's budget? County must make up the difference. State reimbursement at current levels only covers approximately half of the cost of housing state prisoners if it were paid in full, which it has not been. Number 2 was what effects the delay in reimbursements has on the county's budget? Costs continue, so must be paid out of county coffers. Levels of service in all areas are jeopardized by a shortage of funds, most notably the sheriff's office. That work?
Yeah, law enforcement. And I mean, really, they needed somebody to answer those questions? They could.
Well, it's the state auditor's office, and they're auditing the whole reimbursement program. And what's going to happen, I suspect, is they're going to go back and tell them what they already know. You need to pay your bills.
And it needs to be fully funded. What is the fully funded rate?
That's $32 maybe from memory.
See, that would get it to where that reimbursement would cover about 85%
Maybe.
of the cost.
The way it's written in the statute, as I recall, is that there is a big number, whatever that number is, might be more than that. It says subject to appropriation. Then they only appropriate $20.58. last year, and it varies every year. Every year it goes to committee, and the pro-county guys try to help us, and the guys that think counties are a bunch of bums try to cut it.
And that would be large metropolitan areas would be, what would their dog in the hat be? I mean, they've all,
We're all on the same sheet music. We'll
do first class counties have any leg up?
Oh,
yes, they do. Hey, there he is.
What's going on?
Well,
Morning, Judge.
hi, Bill.
Oh, man. Well, y'all are a sight for sore eyes.
We're on
All by
TV.
yourself, but
We're on TV.
Yeah, we're
Turn around and smile.
Say
Oh my gosh.
With,
So you're in an open meeting now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, did we interrupt you?
No. You're
No.
welcome. We're open for business.
It's
Pleasure.
We got business.
Response to something.
okay.
no,
How's it been going?
Sue was down there and I asked her to ask Bill, and you'd called Bill earlier.
I called Julie.
Usually we're trying to get figured out what things may look like, regardless of what day we open.
Right.
The whole place back up.
In light of the governor's order, the governor's plan that was announced, was that Friday? Yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday.
Which is, I haven't seen that order yet.
He's opening up the state capitol and the state office buildings.
How's that went?
Monday,
Okay. Well, we are still under orders upstairs through the Supreme Court to not have any in-person proceedings, with a few limited exceptions, through May 15th.
Julie informed me of that earlier.
And as a corollary to that order, we're still, I've been ordered by the Supreme Court to keep those notices posted through there. Yeah, that is what it is. So our date right now is May 15th. Now, I had received an informal heads up. Each presiding judge has been kind of associated with an individual Supreme Court judge, Missouri Supreme Court judge. In my case, it's Judge Stiff, Laura Stiff. And she had let me know informally, probably about a week and a half or so in advance of the last extension, that extension was going to be coming up. In other words, it was sometime in we're still in April, but it was about a week or two in advance of the last order. I was told by her that an order is probably going to be coming. We don't know when it's going to be exactly, and it's going to be extending. At that time, the deadline was May the 1st, so we're going to be able to open up on May 1st. And she was telling me about 2 or 3 weeks before then, we're probably going to be extending it. In other words, I got sort of an informal heads up a couple, 3 weeks in advance that the date's going to be going out. I have not received anything like that from her indicating that the May 15 date is going to be extended. So we're all kind of hoping that we'll be back to at least semi-business as usual. The 15th is a Friday, so we wouldn't be able to start until the following whole day, the 18th. The 18th would be Monday. So hopefully by the 18th we'll be kind of back to fairly normal.
Okay.
And yeah, at least upstairs, all I can do is tell you what our thought process is for the court system. I'm pretty sure after that day, assuming the Supreme Court gives us the go-ahead, we'll be having fairly normal court. I'm not sure whether judges are going to feel comfortable handling jury trials right after that date comes and goes. We've got a bunch of jury trials that are stacked up for fairly shortly after the 18th, like the following week, I think, maybe even the week after the 18th. I'm not sure. The question is going to be whether or not folks would feel comfortable serving as jurors. Well, all of us have been told all in the world for the last several weeks, stay 6 feet away, stay 6 feet away. And then all of a sudden you're going to be sitting right next to, 11 other people. that might, even though that might be legally allowed, we may or may not want to put, jurors to that.
I don't know that it'd be legally allowed. Because the governor's order is through the end of May and it requires social distancing,
Well,
6 feet.
so that,
I thought you just said he rescinded it.
No, he's rescinded some of the provisions, but not
The
all.
closures of various, quote, unnecessary or non-critical, non-essential businesses, which barbers is one.
Beauticians.
Yeah. Number 2 on mine too.
But it includes churches.
Be open?
And
Provided they can maintain social distance.
Right.
And I made the comment before that being a good Baptist boy, if they could just get me off the back row and everybody else on the 5 back rows and get us spread throughout the congregation, we could probably do it. Yeah. So, I'm kind of excited.
Okay, if we make the assumption that May 15th is the date when you'll have at least some loosening,
how long does this extend?
Through May 31st. It goes into effect May 4th.
Well, that hasn't come across yet.
it just was released yesterday.
Judges are constantly communicating by email. We're trying to figure out what the rules are. Nobody's really addressed this as a bar for jury trials, but this might actually, you might be right, this might actually force us to go past June 1.
Judge, we're calling in new jurors for the May term. There's a new term, and so have sent them out. I don't know that we could get a jury. I don't know that we would have people come in.
Yeah, you just have enough.
Because there are people that are just calling saying, what are you going to do to keep me safe?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
When is the report date? Excuse me.
Well, the term starts May 1 because that's when the term starts, but we sent a notice, told them that there would not be anything that soon. So we know May 15, there's not going to be anything, but after May 15 or even into May, I mean, there's people that are like, I'm not coming in until there's a vaccine. I'm not coming in until I know, because most of them know you're going to come in and sit with 50 other people at first. And they're not willing
And
to.
Is there any way?
Yeah, I was going to ask that same question. Is there any way to adjust the procedures to where you wouldn't have this big rush of folks, where you could spread it out more?
Well, we've been doing our best to do that by holding court as much as possible, even during this period, but doing it remotely. I just finished up in docket. I just handled 31 cases from the Pulaski County docket today, where we had defendants calling in from all over the state, lawyers calling in from all over the state. And we just took up their cases just like they would have been had they been in the courtroom.
That was all done remotely.
It's all done remote.
These judges are enjoying this, I think.
Well, it actually gets kind of lonely. For about the first hour, it works all right. And then after a while, it's like, I'm tired of being in this courtroom all by myself.
Is that where you actually hold court with you
Yeah, I just
sitting
hold
at the bench?
I'm holding court up in courtroom 3 upstairs. And I'm the only one in there. Unless it's a Phelps County docket, then Amanda Brown graciously graces me with her presence. So she's there, but she's 6 feet away. And so it really kind of helps to have that clerk in the courtroom.
And the court reporter is doing it from home.
She is, yeah. So she's
I mean,
way over the
it's
way.
it's working out
So
very well.
she's on a.
We're on WebEx.
It's a Cisco product, Cisco WebEx.
And is the sound quality good enough for your
Yeah,
court?
It's the Supreme Court has basically told us that the long-term solution for the judicial branch is going to be with Cisco WebEx. When this all started, we were all scrambling around. Everybody was using their own system. I started out using Google Meet, which is kind of like Google Hangouts, but it's the enterprise version. And I really liked it. And then a week later, we got this email from Supreme Court, actually not the Supreme Court, but from the Office of the State Court Administrator, saying, we want you basically to move toward using Cisco WebEx. In the short term, for emergency purposes, you're able to use Zoom. They think that there's some security issues with Zoom, and so they just not, for whatever reason, they're not used to using Zoom. Anybody that has any relatives that are connected with the university, you probably know they're using Zoom, so they're all in with Zoom. And that's all the state universities, as far as I know. So there's a big customer base right now for using Zoom, and it's quite a bit, it's more capable actually than Cisco WebEx. But the court told us, don't use Zoom except in the very short term. We'll let you use it, but we really want you to use Cisco WebEx. So we all saw the handwriting on the wall. We all got Cisco WebEx accounts and have been using that. That's what I'm using upstairs. The nice thing about WebEx, and actually Zoom's got the same capability. They give you a static IP address and a static telephone number that you can call in, for a call-in number that never changes. And so that means once lawyers have figured out, okay, Pickles, IP is this and the call-in number is this, they don't need to, it's not like every meeting you've got a different telephone number or different IP address. So they, with my term for court, they just know to log into such and such web address or to call such and such telephone number, and they're in on my court. And the same thing, Judge Clayton, he's using WebEx a lot, and he's just got a different URL and a different call-in number. But everybody knows that when Judge Clayton's court, this is the telephone number I call. So it works pretty nice. It's just like, instead of going up the stairs and going into courtroom 3, you're just going into this specific judge's telephone number or URL.
From your office.
Yeah, from your office or wherever. Yeah. We had a plea the other day. I won't tell you the name of the lawyer, but it was a guilty plea hearing. It was a felony case, so it has to be on the record. So I'm in courtroom 3 upstairs. This is a Pulaski County case. The lawyer is at his home, where I'm really not even sure exactly where he lives. The defendant was in the Pulaski County jail, and the court reporter, she lives way over by the lake, and so she was on hers as well. So we had about a 4 or 5-way call, something like that. And so the lawyer, he shows up. We're all on video, and you can see the background of his car. So he's in his car. And so I mentioned something about that. He said, well, my kids were making a bunch of noise in the house, so I came out to the call. So we had our little hearing. At the end of that, I said, this is such and such. If you want to stay out in the car out here for a little bit longer, we won't tell your family that you're done with this case.
So can any interested party get the information? Like, say, I'm just nosy and I want to know what John Doe, what his case is doing. Yeah. Can
it's open court. Anybody can go anytime they want to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just like walking upstairs and sitting in the back of the courtroom if you want to. You can go in that conference call. It's free in the world. So, so it's actually working pretty well.
Does everybody see everyone else?
What's that?
Does everyone know who is there?
Well, no, they don't. The way I'm doing my dock is because sometimes we've had dockets of over 100 people. Just like upstairs when you go on a law day, you'll have over 100 people that are sitting there. Well, instead you got a whole bunch of people, not 100 necessarily, but you have a whole lot of people that are on a telephone call or on a video or whatever. And so somehow you have to get that information out to the people that are going to be expected to call in. And so we do that through CaseNet. And so Sue's office is having to go through a lot of extra work because they're having to make individual entries in all the cases on CaseNet. That not only is the case set for hearing on April 26th or 9 o'clock or whatever, but the way you join that hearing is by telephone. Here's the telephone number and here's the access code that you punch in after you make that telephone call. And so in order to keep it simple and make it more likely that people are actually going to follow the directions, we just give them a call in. So it's basically just like a big old conference call. So we had that conference call. And then
That's not video, that's just voice.
It's just, yeah, it's just.
Just voice, yeah.
And then a
And
few of the
they're inviting,
cases-
we're inviting the defendants in too, or plaintiffs.
Yeah, so this is just the lawyers, this is the defendants as well. And so on a few of the cases where we're actually having to make a record, that does have to be by video. And then we give them the separate joining information so that they can join like with their laptop or their smartphone, so they got that video. Under Missouri law, if you're going to actually have a hearing on the record, it has to be by video conference. The audio is not good enough. So we give them that separate link. And so then we'll circle back. So if we have a docket of 100 people, out of those 100 cases, only 5 of them might actually need to be on the record where you're actually having to make a record, like for a guilty plea hearing or a consent probation revocation hearing. And so for those, we circle back at the end of the docket and we say, okay, now here's your joining information so that you can make the video connection. And then we do the video. Anyway,
That's
what's
pretty
working.
cool.
So
That's
we're
pretty cool.
doing as much as we can to keep up with our normal dockets, but we're doing it virtually instead of in person. So the one thing that we're not able to do that with, though, jury trials, obviously, and then also any hearings where there's going to be witnesses who testify that need to be have like direct examination and cross examination. It's just not practical to do that by video, where you're having to hand witnesses exhibits and saying, you know, did you say such and such? That type of confrontation we're not trying to do by video. And so those cases we're having to kick down the road until we can have court, you know, in person again.
And does that keep a lot of prisoners in jail, or are a lot of these that you're kicking down the road, are these people that are out on bond?
Well, the vast majority of them are out on bond. We've gone through the jail list with a fine-tooth comb, with an idea of trying to make sure that nobody is being held in jail unless it's absolutely necessary for the safety of the community. There are some people who have serious enough charges, the evidence is strong enough against them, there's identifiable victims, to where it's simply not safe for the community for them to be released. And unfortunately, those folks are having to stay in jail, but we're doing everything we can to fast track those cases, so that, you know, once the prohibition is lifted and we can go ahead and have in-person proceedings, you know, they will be at the head of the list.
If Sue can find jurors.
But then there's a whole lot of folks that have been released that, even though we were kind of reluctant, there were some safety issues, or maybe some histories of non-appearance to where normally you would have kept it, because after all, we've let you out twice before and you haven't showed up in court. And so, you know, unfortunately we have to keep you in jail this time. We've been letting them out of jail anyway. It's sort of against our better judgment, because their cases have been delayed because of this.
And they are set up with the jail. You can have court and have the jail come in with the defendant also.
Right. Yeah.
So the people in jail can have hearing.
Video.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've got Sheriff Listenby. He's done a really good job. They've got a good system down there, and not just Sheriff Listenby, the other 3 counties in our circuit as well. We all have the ability to tie in remotely through Cisco WebEx with folks that are in jail.
And Judge Clayton's having the daily confinement docket. If someone, there's a ruling now that you have to be able to see a judge within 48 hours. And through the Cisco WebEx, we've been doing that through Polycom before, but now even they're continuing to be able to do that daily. So no one, just because they're in jail, doesn't mean they're not being seen.
Okay. Well, that
So that's, yeah, I don't know.
But the Supreme Court order only really applies to the court and your office, and that, as far as the rest of the courthouse, is that
The rest of the
Randy's
courthouse, we
purview?
don't have any jurisdiction over.
That's-
The one exception, we have been ordered to put those notices downstairs, but those notices are, to a certain extent, common sense notices. They're telling you not to come to the courthouse if you got any symptoms of COVID, that sort of thing. So those have to stay up.
Mhm.
But just because we're not allowed to have in-person court until May 18, that doesn't have any effect on the other offices we have. That's up to you.
That's the answer we're looking for.
Yeah, it is. Some of the office holders on the first floor, and she was part of this conversation, were a little bit concerned that there'd be a jury trial here in the next 2 weeks, and all of a sudden there'd be 120 prospective jurors come, and so they were a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's a legitimate concern. And
yeah,
that is something that we haven't made a final decision over.
I
And
think we have to
we
wait
might
for
be
the
getting,
Supreme Court, no, it's
Yeah,
what they're gonna do. And
well, yeah, I mean, right now, if there were no other Supreme Court order now and May 15th, basically everything evaporates as far as instructions we could give as of the end of May 15th, which means if you had a jury trial set for May 18th, theoretically, we could have that jury trial. There would be nobody telling us not to do it other than our own common sense. And so then it's going to be, the individual judge that would be saying, well, I know I have this case set for May 18. It doesn't make sense though to be having that trial. There's going to be too much pushback. There's going to be, part of it is, even if you thought it was safe to do it, you want to have a set of jurors that are not distracted and can focus on the evidence in the case. And after you've been told for the last month and a half, stay away, stay away, stay away, are they, even if you had a doctor that said, this is fine to do that, and I'm not passing judgment either way on whether or not it would be safe. But let's just assume for argument the worst thing. That doesn't mean that you can have 12 jurors that are going to be able to focus on that case when you have these safety concerns.
Because the first time Randy sneezes, we're all gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna douse him down.
so what, the day you do open, let's say it's not a jury trial, the day you do open, what kind of traffic flow would we expect in the courthouse? Would it be heavier than what a normal day would have looked like
You mean like
3 months
the
ago?
18th?
Yeah, let's say it's just a normal traffic. People come into your office for services, or you're not really holding court, but I mean, we're looking so different than 3 months ago.
If I were to look at, basically we'd be looking, for example, like with me, my bulk dockets would be, I've got a sort of a bulk docket in late May and another one in early June. And I think those dockets are probably going to look pretty similar to what they have in the past. And that's because, at least for me, that's because I've been trying to work so hard to keep things moving so that we don't have this big backlog that all of a sudden it's the same thing or whatever.
Judge Calvert has both use cases. Those have to occur.
Right.
And because he's continued them and he doesn't want to continue them.
Right.
And then there's some juvenile matters. But those are the type that are not exempt. We have to make sure that they don't all happen at once, but those trials can happen.
Are those the ones that you're gonna try to have
Right.
down?
And he's got a couple, I think he's got 3 days set the first 2 weeks of May.
Okay.
And we're coming up with ways to bring those people.
And
connect
with the judge via video.
He'll be up there, the court reporter will be up there, which is one of my clerks, because he doesn't have a court reporter, he does. Right now, we're looking at putting him in the multi-purpose room, having 2 laptops separated, and we'll have to make everybody else have to run up a way to keep everybody separate.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see the way this develops long term. I think a lot of the changes that we've been doing right now as a matter of necessity will probably survive this whole crisis. Like, for example, I was telling the lawyers today, I'm planning on keeping that WebEx, even once we're back to meeting, in person. I'm just going to keep that WebEx connection open when I have court, unless I find a reason not to do it. But I think it's going to work out fine, even once we begin regular court again. It's no big deal. We've got a webcam on the monitor that's got the microphone in it. So if you kept that going, even back when we're back to having normal court again, then some lawyers on their cases and some defendants on their case, not just defendants, but in civil cases as well, some parties, it'd be fine for them to hear by telephone. And
wow.
right now, it's a lot of trouble to do that. We've always done it. We've always said, we start getting calls. Let's say I've got a law day that comes up where I've got, 100 to 150 cases on the docket. Well, I can tell you, a day or two or three before that law day, lawyers start calling in, hey, can we appear by telephone? And which is fine, you bend over backwards to try to help people, but it's a lot of trouble to do it right now because if you're gonna do it with a conference call, that means you need to set up that conference call at a specific time. And so instead of continuing to sit on the bench, taking up cases for all those people who are waiting in court, now you're gonna have to excuse yourself. Oh, I got a conference call at 10:15 in Chambers. I have to take a break now. I'll see you as soon as I'm done on the call. And then everybody in the courtroom is cooling their heels for the next 10 or 15 minutes while you've got a conference call. Then you come back in. Well, if you had WebEx, it'd be like, Smith versus Jones. I don't really care whether the lawyer is responding from inside the courtroom or by telephone, where it's just coming through this little speaker on the bench, as long as we get the information. And so instead of going off the bench, taking that conference call, then come back in, it's
happening in real time. It's a real time situation.
Right. So there's going to be, and I think what that's going to wind up doing is reducing a little bit of the traffic flow in and out of court. Probably most people won't take advantage of that, but some will. And so if we could reduce the traffic flow by 10 to 20% just by people that are appearing virtually instead of, in person, that helps them. It helps us. We had a guy the other day. He was there for a simple docket call. Trying to remember which county it was because I'm doing all my work upstairs, even for other counties, but whatever county it was, I think it might have been Pulaski. He apologized. He says, "I'm sorry. There's some equipment. I've got a concrete pour going on right now, and so I'm at the corner of the job site. My boss said that I could attend court, the way you told me to, but I'm here over the corner. I'm as far away from the noise as I can get. That's like if in the normal course of business." He would have been required to drive to Pulaski County, to the courthouse, sat there for a couple hours maybe, then gone back. He basically probably would have missed a day's worth of work. Instead, he missed 10 minutes worth of work.
Yes, but was he wearing blue jeans?
What's that?
Yes, but was he wearing blue jeans?
He probably was.
Blue jean shorts.
And look at,
It's just my telephone, right?
then look at you with your blue jeans on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I just have to look. I have to look acceptable. I've never looked at front to waist side.
So the Supreme Court order didn't really close your office. It merely suspended face-to-face trial. So your office has been open and doing whatever.
The office is open, right? I've split the staff, so we're not all in there at the same time. But the office has been open to phone calls. People can drop stuff off the front. Yeah, the office has been open. We've had plenty of work to do.
Like when the title company calls you and says we're going to be closing, and
We
are
look
there?
at, we've had to change what we think of how to get things done. But if you can do it by email, we've started doing a lot more that way. They don't have to come over and get it.
So that may continue to Bill's point. That may continue past this emergency and may provide some more efficiencies. I'm always looking for that silver lining.
All right, yeah.
And so, it's pretty. This has been pretty fascinating. I hope that the 3 viewers that are probably attending this virtual meeting have enjoyed it. There's probably more information than they've gotten before out of our meetings.
What technology are you all using here? Is this so live?
Yeah, we have a link on our website that they can click on and pick up.
Zoom, I believe.
Zoom? Okay.
Is it?
I think it is Zoom, yeah. The open meetings law is what prompted Pam's investigation of this and brought it all about. So that because the front door's locked, we're having open public meetings. So the alternative is.
Can you tell how many people are watching?
Yeah, Peter usually.
I tried to watch it, put me to sleep.
I would say, do you repeat it later in the day, about 10 o'clock? I can turn it on.
They can jump on any time.
YouTube, you can Google Commissioner Meeting, Phelps County Commissioner Meeting YouTube. Yeah. I thought
Sure,
He must have a personal account because the other was limited.
I talk to people about it. I don't know anything about it.
Well, we might get a Zoom account, but it's a really meeting, and the meeting will only last 40 minutes unless you do.
Rachel from Extension got us going.
Yeah, like 40 minutes is a freebie, which is.
Yeah, right.
I thought sure my grandkids would watch, but so far they haven't checked in. But maybe they're sending some questions.
Well, everybody, we have a daughter that's still at the university here in town, and all the students at S&T have like whatever the version is, like a commercial version, so they can set up Zoom meetings that last long.
So they can reply too.
They can send a question or an inquiry in. In fact, we've got one we've got to deal with this morning about employee status. But I think the pivotal thing here you've spoken to, Bill, we appreciate is what it would look like if we determine we need to open the courthouse or want to open the courthouse May the 6th or 7th, whatever day that is.
May the 4th Monday.
May the 4th. Thank you. The 4th. We could do that.
You could. They can't come upstairs.
But they can't come upstairs.
Expectation that they'll go into the courtroom for
Yeah.
court.
But they could still come to Sue's office.
I don't know if they can.
Yeah,
Not a deal, no.
well.
We would have to monitor, it would be our responsibility to make sure we don't have, that there's,
Again,
Six
Yeah.
foot.
Well, you've got the one, you don't have partitions of glass. You do have.
we have glass up front, right?
Yeah, so you could,
We'd have to make sure that we only have maybe like one person here and one person at the other end. We could have probably 2 people at a time.
and not have just ganged up.
Right.
Because if the governor's order says that state offices will reopen, is that your office? I'm just,
We've not been closed until you close the front door.
oh, so when we open the front doors,
Which it sounds to me like will happen May the 4th.
yeah, I would have an idea. And we'll try to, in here, you can see we've kind of spread our chairs out.
Yeah.
And so, but we do miss our
Or walk-ins. Yeah, we haven't anybody walk in since we locked the door. But, that may be our next meeting.
but we'll still be restricted to 6 people. You know, Andrew comes at 5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it'll be
'cause we
limited.
got to set a hold
It'll
of
be
it to
open.
10 people.
So you're thinking about opening up then on May the,
Unlocking the door.
okay.
And I don't think there would just be a mad rush to come in here, because I think people are still going to be cautious.
They are.
And there's not going to be a mad rush to go to the restaurant, except for me.
I
Yeah.
know where I'm going.
You gonna get a haircut? I think it looks lovely, Sue. I don't
Well,
have a
it's this
problem.
right up here that's starting to bother me.
I want to get one of those Flobies where I could just, it has a vacuum and just take it all off. But you can't get them.
No.
I mean, they're out of stock. You can't buy clippers on.
That is an interesting side shot of this, Bill. The governor's order allows restaurants to open, but they must maintain 6-foot spacing between the tables and no more than 10 people, unrelated people at a table. And servers are expected to take precautions, or we're all expected to take precautions without supposedly masks and perhaps gloves. And the restaurateur will have to make the call. Can I open and be viable
Yeah.
given that? And some of them in the cities are, Franklin County did this a little bit ago, and they interviewed on TV several restaurateurs, and the theater guy said, I can't do it. I can't get the movie and hire staff and have that queue of patrons. It doesn't work. So some of them will open, some of them won't, but at least it will be the option.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yes, sir, it will. Certainly
I
will.
know sodas and scoops, they'll be open just for a short period of time, which in turn kind of creates sort of a scarcity. So it's like, oh, okay, they're open, so, people will go.
Flock.
For a short period of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
We heard this.
rolling open.
Well, we had a report, I think it was you, Larry, it said the Lucky House opened for carryout or whatever, and people were lined up all the way down to Maid-Right to go through the window and all the way out to the stoplight the other way, trying to get into Lucky House. They served till they ran out of food.
Really?
People were most anxious to back.
People are ready to
Yeah. Had another reporter lady went to get donuts for one of the donut shops up on Overmart, opened up and her son loved her donuts. So the day they opened, she went out there at 7 o'clock. It was raining and there were 35 people in line to get donuts.
Wow. How about that?
Her son did without donuts that day. But the point being that there are those of us who are anxious to see some normalcy back into the stream. So maybe this will help. Maybe this will help.
Well, good luck.
Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks, Judge.
That's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, that would be next Monday. Next Monday.
All right, thanks for sharing.
Thank you, thank you. Bill, for
Yeah,
taking the time.
thanks for the update.
Always, yeah, always check if you got anything. Talk to me.
Yeah, if you hear anything about the Supreme Court's plans, let us know,
Okay, I'll
would
let
you?
you know.
Hey,
Yeah.
Pam, can you send that, what you printed off? Or I could make a
Oh, yeah.
copy and,
Here,
Say
you want the
that.
DHS? Damn, I've got extra copies here, I think.
Have a good day.
Thanks,
you,
Bill.
thank you.
Mhm.
I'll let her know. I'll let her know. Do you need that copy that she's taking then?
We'll find a use for it, I'm sure. Sue, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
If we hear anything, we'll let you know.
Thanks.
You know, guys, I'm not really interested in this.
Well,
The restaurant one.
10 people at a table.
yes, yeah,
40 people, as long as you can keep them 6 feet apart. That's like in here. I mean, we're limited to 10 people are here at one time, but we're not anymore. We're limited to how many we get in here 6 feet apart.
I don't know that the local government was actually subject to this mandate.
Well,
But
anyway, I think we will apply.
Well,
Civilized world.
Every person and business in the state of Missouri shall abide by social distancing requirements. Every person,
where do you?
That's number 2. That's number 2 on the DHS.
Every
Alright.
person and business.
Every person.
All right, we need to take action on the May the 4th opening of the front door. Is that your wish?
I did tell, and I'm not trying to delay this, I did tell the people out there, so if you feel strongly about it, come and see us Thursday morning.
Okay.
Here and there. Is that fair enough?
So can you push that decision till Thursday?
Whether it'll unlock the door on Monday morning.
I'm still working on your petition.
Yeah, well, I want you to look at that. I drafted that up before we adopted the stay-at-home, closed business order. I think there may be something that we can pick and parse out of that to show our support for the guidelines.
One question I did get outside is if the city of Rolla, whose order does not expire until the 11th of May, and they could actually extend it.
They could.
So are we bound to have to abide by that law? And I said we do not have to abide by the city's law.
The courthouse, the courthouse
does not.
property.
Am I on solid ground there?
I believe so.
I'm waiting a response
I
from the dean here.
believe that
I mean, the fact is, I don't think they can order us to keep the courthouse
the
closed.
city governments are considered critical business, and I don't think. I mean, we can abide by the governors and the Department of Health and Senior Services. We can.
Certainly, if the city extends their order to how many people, like 10 people in a room and something like that, I can't imagine that our courts on the second floor are going to abide by that. If the Supreme Court says open for business, they're going to open for business.
Let's see what City Rolla does, and then we'll wrestle that bear. But
Are
hopefully
we
we
gonna
won't have
learn something about 400 tests before?
We will,
By
if
Thursday.
it's been 48 hours, the State Department has taken, the State Health Department's taken 48 hours to give results.
And so some of the samples were taken yesterday.
Some were taken yesterday. I'm shocked we didn't get to 400.
Sorry, I got your thing.
Well, I know. Well, we'll work on that, and we can. I mean, we've officially adopted the theory of our
Yeah, and I've got an email from Chris at the newspaper in St. James, what we're gonna do, and then Andrew isn't, I don't know, bless his heart, he could be here today, but we need to probably get the word out.
What our intention is, are we gonna pass this today, or are we gonna go?
Well,
Wait till Thursday.
we- And all it is just the state of emergency order that
With the statement that we're not gonna renew our order, ours.
with reference to the closure of businesses. And yes, we're not renewing that. It's just simply the state of emergency that the contention is may enable our businesses to benefit in some way. However, I think that the governor's state of emergency is enough to do that. I don't think it's necessary, but it's
The county business that I've seen on Facebook a little bit, now if I'm reading between the lines, I think Matt's gonna have to take the pressure on that. So I'm seeing Matt ask a lot of questions online. Not when he's gonna be able to open. Or not when he's gonna be able to open, and we're that way, when business. Those people.
You think Matt's go back in there?
I just want you to do that.
Thank you.
Would you like to adjourn?
Is Pam gonna be ready to give us that thing today?
Probably not. I mean, we could make it happen.
Well, it's just whether or not, I mean, getting the word out is kind of crucial.
Well, we are going to do it. It's just getting the wording on the document. What I gave her was that short resolution that I'd written several weeks ago. And I think had some verbiage in it that could be utilized, showing our support for adherence to the guidelines provided by CDC and
The only thing of any note, and Ashley kind of addressed this, the only thing of note that we have between now and Thursdays, we could get results back from those 300 tests.
well, then we can tell people we anticipate that Thursday that we will not initiate our stay-at-home business order. Reauthorize.
Well, maybe we just have to wait till Thursday.
I don't have a
seat meeting back for 4 years. I know the sheriff didn't remember.
No, I know I didn't.
Oh, now come on. That's the way he always talks.
I vote we adjourn then.
Move to adjourn, Peter.
Peter out there? Is Peter here?